Well, good morning and welcome into the Wealth Guardians radio program. My name is Doug Ray. I'm going to be your host here for the next 30 minutes. Well, if what you knew to be true about money wasn't accurate, how soon would you want to know? Now, I'm going to ask that question again so it has some time to sink in. If what you knew to be true about money wasn't accurate, how soon would you want to know? Well, I'm going to come back to that question in just a minute, but to start with, I just want to thank all of our men and women in uniform serving in the armed forces. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for your sacrifices. Thank you from the bottom of our heart. So, getting back to my question, I'm guessing you probably answered now, and that's good. Because, of course, that's the right answer. And the sooner the better. Wrong information can have serious consequences. You know, if you make a mistake nearing retirement or in retirement, you can get by with a couple small mistakes. But if you make a big mistake, that could be catastrophe. It's very interesting. You know, I meet people all the time, blessed that they come in off of this radio program, and you know, it amazes me. We sit down, we start to chatting, and I find out folks have heard something, either negative or positive, that formulates their opinion on a strategy or a financial product. But what they heard isn't accurate. In fact, in some cases, it's just downright wrong. And yet they make a decision based on what they heard, and sometimes those decisions have long-term impacts that they didn't realize. And they're not going to be keeping up with their long-term goals. On today's show, I want to talk about misconceptions that are very common when it comes to what people think about money and how to re-educate you on how it really works in the world of money. So we're going to try to knock out about 3 myths on today's show. But before we get into that, I want to let you know my next educational workshop is about taxes in retirement, and I'm going to touch on a lot of concepts. Those workshops will be held Tuesday, August the 8th, Thursday, August the 10th at the historic Broyhill in Clemens. So register now on thewealthguardians.com or just call our office at 336-391-3409. You know, we just came off a very successful workshop on Social Security. And I'm really loving how these two workshops just dovetail into each other, just fit like a hand in a glove. Because we touch on taxes on Social Security in the Social Security workshop, and then in the taxes in retirement workshop, we take a deep dive into how taxes can really and quickly impact your Social Security. There are strategies to avoid it. So come and learn some of these strategies August 8th and the 10th. Call us at 336-391-3409. All right. Misconception or myth number 1, and that is there's really only 2 places to put your money. Either a savings vehicle like a bank CD, savings account, or, you know, even under your mattress. Well, that's a joke. Or the other one is the stock market, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, that kind of thing. Well, actually, there's another place to put your money. And not only does it provide safety, liquidity, like a bank savings account, it has guaranteed rates of return. It has tax-free growth year after year. It could potentially have tax-free income with absolutely no risk of loss. Now, if you're interested in that, hang on. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what that particular product is. Misconception number 2 is that the rate of return on your money is the absolute most important factor in deciding where to put money, no matter whether it's for short or long-term use. Wrong again. You know, the rate of return is important, but it is not as important as you may think it is. I see people coming in all the time. When I build these retirement plans for these folks, it becomes crystal clear to me that for the vast majority of you, all you have to do is to get 4 or 5% per year and not lose your money, and you're going to be absolutely fine. I can get you through retirement, maintaining your standard of living without running out of money. Now, here's where rate of return becomes very important. Many times when you come in to see me, you guys are set up with your accounts like you're trying to get double-digit returns all the time. I've always used this analogy. It's kind of like playing baseball. You stand there at home plate, and you got the bat in your hand, and every pitch you're swinging out of your shoes hard as you can to hit that home run. Well, you know what you end up doing, right? You strike out. And that's exactly what's happening when you have your investments set up to try to hit double-digit returns all the time. There's going to be a big market correction at some point in time. You need to be careful. You need to watch out for it. Markets go up, markets go down. They always have. Nothing's going to ever change it. Okay. So let's take a look at misconception number 3 real quick. Then I want to get into a story. That misconception is that the wealthy, they make their money, make it grow by keeping it in the market all the time, and then they reduce their taxes by taking advantage of loopholes that aren't available to me and you, just the regular guy. Well, let me tell you something. Most of the strategies that will provide solid growth of your money, tax-free benefits, are available to everyone. And they don't involve risk or the stock market. And they can be absolutely guaranteed and safe. You know, you can put your money in the bank and make point nothing if you want to, but there's a lot of better ways to handle your money. All right, let's take a look at a couple situations. I know most of you've heard of J.C. Penney. Well, back in the Depression in the 20s, J.C. Penney had to go into his cash value life insurance so that he could pay his employees. That helped save the retailer J.C. Penney. Had it not been for that particular investment option, then we might not have a J.C. Penney anymore. A fellow by the name of Ray Kroc. You know who he is? You know what company he started? McDonald's. Yep. And it's a very similar situation in the early days of McDonald's. It wasn't doing quite as well. He actually needed some money to not just pay employees, but he wanted to expand. You know, he wanted to get another store in a better location. So he borrowed tax-free money out of his life insurance policy to open up some more McDonald's. Now, had he not done that, had he not had that cash value life insurance, you may not be able to buy a Big Mac today. Well, you've heard of Walt Disney, right? Much the same story here. In the early days of the Magic Kingdom, Walt Disney had to do the same thing. And again, had he not had a cash value life insurance policy, then your trips down to Disney, the Magic Kingdom, well, Orlando would probably still be a swamp right now. All right. Now, that's Ray Kroc. That's J.C. Penney. That's Walt Disney. Again, I want to remind you, you're listening to the Wealth Guardian Show, and it's right here on 94.5 WPTI. And also, I want to let you know that we're going to have another one of our taxes and retirement workshop, which, by the way, it was really a very well-received workshop when we did it back in, I think we did it in May. It's Tuesday, August the 8th, Thursday, August the 10th. You need to be there. It's free, so all you have to do is go online at thewealthguardians.com to register or call our office at 336-391-3409. August 8 and 10, 6:30 p.m., out in Clemens at the Broyhill Office and Convention Center. All right. You've heard of Coach Jim Harbaugh. Well, let me tell you his story. After Michigan hired him and he had such a great turnaround season, they wanted to keep him. So he was making $5 million. They wanted to give him a raise. They wanted to take it from $5 million to $7 million. And Jim said, yeah, I really do want the raise, but most of this money, a lot of this money is going to go to the government in the form of taxes. There's got to be a better way. So what Jim did is he opened up a cash value life insurance plan, and the University of Michigan agreed to pay premiums into that plan over the next 5 years equal to $2 million, his raise. Now, that got him a death benefit on that policy of somewhere between $5 and $6 million. But he really didn't buy it for the death benefit. Now, that death benefit's going to be important, and you'll find out here fairly soon why. But he did it for a couple reasons. Number one, the University of Michigan loved this idea because in the end, years from now, when Coach dies, they're going to get their $2 million back. That's pretty cool. But also, along the way, Coach Jim gets to take advantage of all this cash value that's building up in the plan. And let me give you an example of that. So remember, all of this is contractually designed so that $2 million is absolutely guaranteed going to go back to the University of Michigan. That $5 or $6 million of death benefit is going to get paid out at Coach Jim's death. And contractually, the money in that plan is going to continue to grow 3, 4, 5, maybe even 7% per year. And contractually, Coach Jim gets to use that money along the way. Now, we're running up against the break, and when we get back from that break, I'm going to tell you how Coach Jim can use this money. It's amazing in a variety of different ways. He can create tax-free retirement income from it. He can take money out of it to buy a car if he wanted to. Lots of different things can be done with the cash value in a life insurance policy. Well, stay tuned. We'll be right back, and I'll give you the details on Coach Jim Harbaugh's $2 million raise.
I don't remember what day it was.
Hey, welcome back into the Wealth Guardian Show. On today's show, we've been talking about money and the myths behind certain concepts of money and different products. And as the last segment concluded, I was talking about Coach Jim Harbaugh's story. And for those of you who just joined us, let me recap. After Coach Jim went to Michigan and did such a fantastic job of rebuilding the program, Michigan wanted to tie him up. So they offered him a big raise. They said, Coach, you're making $5 million. We want to bring it up to $7 million. And Coach goes, hey, great, I want that raise, but dadgummit, I'm going to have to pay a lot in taxes. There's got to be a better plan. So his plan was to have the University of Michigan pay this $2 million raise into a cash value life insurance policy that he was able to take out. Now, the cash value life insurance policy is going to probably have somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 to $6 million of death benefit. But that's not exactly why he designed this particular program. The cash value, the premium, that $2 million of premium that the University of Michigan will be paying over the next 5 years, yeah, some of that's going to go to buy that death benefit, but the vast majority of that premium is going to go into a very well-designed life insurance policy that has cash value growing at 3, 5, even 7% per year, all tax-free. Now, you tell me where you're going to get tax-free growth in a guaranteed, safe instrument growing at even 3% today, much less 5 or 7. And these rates of return are conservative. I have clients in these types of plans last year that got over 19%. And if you don't believe me, I'll show you the proof. Now, what's great about this cash value is that Coach Jim can take and use this cash value tax-free anytime he wants to. Okay? He could let it just sit there and grow and grow and grow till he retires and then take a tax-free income in retirement from it. Or he can pull out a chunk of money and go buy a car if he needs to. Or he and his wife on a luxury vacation after a hard-fought football season by taking a tax-free loan from a specially designed life insurance policy. That's what it is. It's a loan. Loans under our tax code are not taxable. So, Doug, how does this work? Well, the way it works is this. Let's say you have $100,000 of cash value. You can go into that cash value and you can pull out $30,000, $50,000, whatever it is, and take it and do whatever you want to with it completely and totally tax-free. Now, wait, there's more. Now, this is starting to sound like one of those late-night TV commercials, doesn't it? Well, look, I'm not talking about any Vegematic here, and this is not your father's life insurance plan. But let me tell you something. When you take and borrow $50,000 from that $100,000 cash value, guess what? The $100,000 of cash value still sits there and earns its 5-7% or whatever it is. Now, the loan that you've gotten, yeah, you're paying interest on that. You're going to probably pay 5% interest on it. But here's what's cool. You never have to pay it back if you don't want to. Do you hear me? You never have to pay the loan back. Now, you're sitting there, how does that work? Because if I borrowed money from a bank to buy a house, I got to pay that back, right? Well, guess what? In this situation, you can pay this loan back if you want to. But if you don't, at the end of the day, when you pass away, the death benefit's going to pay the loan off. And then whatever's left over the death benefit goes tax-free to your beneficiaries. So let me explain. Let's go back. Let's say you got this $100,000 of cash value. It's earning 5 or 6%. You borrow $50,000 of it tax-free, and you agree to pay 4 or 5% loan interest on it, which again, you can pay it back or not. You still have that same $100,000 of cash value growing for you and getting those credits every year. Now listen, this is important. You can't do this at home by yourself because not every life insurance company and policy is designed like this. You have to know which ones to get. You have to see a professional about plans like this. So again, you never pay your loan back if you don't want to. You can, but the death benefit will do it for you. Now, let's say Coach Jim one day decides to borrow $2 million out of his policy to buy a restaurant. You know, all these old coaches and ball players seem to like to open up restaurants. You know, Tony Romo did it. Vince Lombardi did it. Don Shula did it. By the way, I ate in Lombardi's one time up in Wisconsin, and it was really neat. You know, I'm a Green Bay Packer fan, so I was in my football heaven up there. But I had something at Lombardi's I'd never had before. I had a fried baked potato. Now it seems like in Wisconsin they pretty much fry everything. They fry cheese, which actually that was pretty good. But this fried baked potato, not so much. Look, I digress. Coach Jim, he's opening up a restaurant. He borrows out $2 million to do it. It's completely tax-free. He opens up the restaurant, and maybe the restaurant does really, really well, and at some point in the future, he either sells it or makes so much money on it, he decides to pay the loan off. That's fine. That $2 million he borrowed out is still sitting in his cash value, making interest. Now, I know you can't, it's hard for you to wrap your mind around that concept because you're thinking of your bank account or your brokerage account, right? And if you got $100,000 or $2 million in those accounts and you take half of it out, well, you've only got half the money that's growing for you, right? In other words, if you take a $2 million loan against a $4 million account, you've only got $2 million left in the account to earn interest. It's different in a specially designed life insurance policy. You know, it's really, really cool the way these things work. So Coach Jim, if his restaurant does well, he can pay this thing off, or if he doesn't want to, fine. When he passes away, his death benefit on that life insurance policy pays it all off completely. And again, whatever's left over of that death benefit will go to his beneficiaries. Well, no, folks, this is not too good to be true. I've got one of these policies for myself. I got one for my wife, and I've designed several, many, in fact, for my clients. And if I've piqued your curiosity, if you want to see if we can design something for you, call us at 336-391-3409. 336-391-3409. It's not right for everybody, but I'll tell you what, when it works, it really, really works well. So 336-391-3409. Something else I want to cover in the last few minutes that we've got with about these life insurance policies. These are all modern design policies. They, like I said before, these are not your father's life insurance plans. It's absolutely amazing what the industry has done with life insurance and how they've re-engineered them to work so much better for us. Here's another example. And believe it or not, the government had a lot to do with this one, the Pension Protection Act of 2006. What that allowed insurance companies to do was to build in living benefits for you. In most well-designed plans right now, what you can do is if you need home health care or long-term care, you can actually access the death benefit part of the policy while you're alive to help pay for the home health care and the long-term care. And most of the time, almost all the time, that's a tax-free benefit to you. And that's pretty cool. And I hope and pray you don't ever need it for home health or long-term care. But unfortunately, a lot of us are going to have to face that situation. And wouldn't it be nice to have a vehicle that's multifunctional like these things are, that you could use it in an emergency situation like that? Now, here's another thing you may not know about life insurance. You can actually sell your policy. Yeah, you can. Say you don't need it for whatever reason. You got $1 million policy and it's got, say, $400,000 of cash value. You can sell it for something between $400,000 and $1 million. And that's pretty cool too. By the way, you could even sell term policies. Term policies don't have any cash value. Now, let me tell you something. If you're listening to me and you're 35 years old and you go out and buy a $2 million 10-year term policy, don't come to me and say, hey, I want to sell it. Nobody's going to give you 2 copper cents for that. It's not going to happen. What are the odds a 35-year-old is going to pass away in the next 10 years? Next to none. Term policies can be sold, but it would be more fitting if you were, say, 73 and you were 15, say 5 years into a 15 or a 20-year term policy. Then you could sell that policy for something. So you see, today we've been talking about a lot of different myths and so forth about how money works and things of that nature. You know, during the Depression of '29 and the recent recessions of 2000, 2008, it was the insurance companies that helped get the banks and the brokerage companies recapitalized again. Insurance companies don't fail. They don't. They're well reserved. Now, if you want to make sure and know more about how we can make your money work harder for you, and if you want to know the facts, not myths, not misconception, let's sit down and let's have a chat. Because at the beginning of this show, you told me that if you thought what was true about money wasn't accurate, you'd want to know. call my office. The number is 336-391-3409, 336-391-3409. We'll see you soon.